I'm sorry. I'm afraid I can't do that. This sort of thing has cropped up before, and it has always been due to human error.
Has the mission been completed? You know that I have the greatest enthusiasm.
Floppy modeler. We've made a little bit of progress on the Moebius Moonbus 155 scale from Space 2001: A Space Odyssey. I guess it's Space 2001: A Space Odyssey. Sorry for my arm there. So, what you're looking at is we have finally sealed up the cabin throughout and taped off the front cockpit and the windows and the thrusters here on the sides. I've got my wires coming out of the bottom here, and I have put a coat of primer onto the exterior of the Moonbus. Working on a couple of challenges right now, and we'll see if we can't get these to light up to show where I'm still dealing with some light leaks that are going to be pretty hard to deal with. So yeah, so as you can see here on this side, I've got this light leak. Let's make sure we get powered up here. I've got this light leak that's coming through right there, and then a little bit down on the corner. So I need to just work on either another coat of primer or paint or something. So that's a light leak that is significant, and actually the other side is the same way. Other than that, the light leaks have been pretty well eliminated throughout. Let's get the other ones here lit up for just a second, and we'll see what comes of this. Always get those reversed. Okay, there we go. So now we're lit up on this side. Same thing up on this corner. We've got a real light leak, and then some light leaks there right around where that seam is at, which have been filled with putty. But I think what I'm going to do is actually put in some of this Mr. Surfacer 1000. I think I'm just going to brush that in, this Mr. Surfacer 1000. And that's pretty thick, and it's gray. And what I'll do is I'll put that into those corners. I don't want to go with black because this model is so white. I don't want to go with a bunch of black tulip on those areas and then have to bring that color back to the white that we're talking about. This was reprimered here, so now I'm ready to start working on whether I'm going to paint this area in here or leave that white, and maybe, because I've done the interior with an aluminum, is do a flat aluminum on this section right here on this lattice work. Just do a light aluminum at that point. I did get this painted up with the wet cement, and actually I really like the look of that. I like the color. This is white primer, but I like the color of that wet cement, and I think that's going to look really nice against there. So what I'm going to do is also paint this section right here. I'm going to paint this section here, this dental molding, in that wet cement, and then a couple other details. We'll figure that out. And then actually down here, I think I'm going to figure out if I can paint that wet cement, and then I need to determine what color I'm going to paint this venting or grills back here for. Looks like the motors of some sort, and same thing on this side. So I've got some exterior details to work through to figure out what's next from a paint color perspective. I did notice that some of them have just a couple of aluminum stripes that come down in the front, and maybe some sections here that have just a slight bit of aluminum paint or silver paint, whatever you're looking at, that sets this model off. Besides working with the gray here, the wet cement that I've painted. So we are making progress. I don't know how much time I can dedicate this over to the weekend. I've got Mother's Day coming up, and I'll have to go down and I get to go down and work with my mom and spend some time with her, so that's going to take most of the weekend, and I'll enjoy that quite a bit. But so for now, the Moebius Moonbus is making progress, and actually those two lights, one set of wires for this side and one set of wires for that side, here and here, I'm just going to combine into one, and then that will just be two leads coming out, one to power the model up, and I think I'm just going to do that when you power it up from the USB stick, and then one switch for the side lights, the searchlights on the side, and those light up okay. I really would have liked to have a little more light pointing out on pushing out from those, but for what we've done here and the fact that we can put those on a switch that are going to be separate, I think I'm going to be all right with that. I think that I'm going to be pleased with the outcome of those headlights or searchlights on the side, and then we'll finalize the cockpit and some of the other things in the windows. So I've got some more work to do on this. The other thing I'm considering is that when this is lit up, and let's see if I can get the right one here, when this is lit up underneath, nope, maybe it's this one. So as I say, it's always the last place you look. Well, that's kind of what we're up against here. Let's see if I can light this up. Yeah, there we go. Okay, good. So when this is lit up, we've actually got a pretty significant amount of light that's coming through these 6 rockets. And as you can see here in the sides, there's quite a bit of light there in the 6 rockets. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these rockets in, and then once they're in, I'm just going to come back in and punch a hole with the drill right down through the center of it. So it'll be glued in. I'll punch a hole through the center, and that'll let some light into that black. Now it won't be bright, it won't be a lot, but it might just be enough to show up and provide a little bit of rocket light, if you will, while this thing is turned on. Since it's going to be suspended in the air, I think I've arrived that this is the distance that I want to use. Just real short, maybe, that's maybe 4 inches or 5 inches there. Above there, you should, be able to see around that and make that happen. For the base, what I'm going to do is just do a decoupage of finding a graphic of the moon, and what I'll do on top of that is just glue that on and then put a gloss over it, or a flat coat actually, probably. So, I mean, it won't be spectacular, but it'll look like, a photo of the moon a little bit, just by gluing some of an image to that wood, and that will be the base as that sits. So for this update, which we're on update number 5, for this part of the update, I'm going to sign off. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we will catch you with the next update on the painting on the exterior. So thanks for watching. This is the Sloppy. All right. Well, hey, welcome back to the Sloppy Modeler. We are currently on part 5 of our Moebius Moonbus 155 scale from Space 2001, 2001: A Space Odyssey. So we're just about to wrap this up as far as the actual Moonbus itself. I've got work to do on the base, and I'll probably work on that sometime this evening and a little bit tomorrow to wrap up a couple of these things. And I did find this completing this very, very challenging. Definitely had some paint issues here and there. So let's go through where we're at and then what is left to do. And we'll talk about some of the things that caused me to get tripped up as I went. So from the lighting perspective, this actually looks pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with the way this turned out. You can see in here that the lighting is done from the interior perspective. It's also done from the front. We just went black here. There we go. And you can see that red coming through now with the 2 red bulbs there, and kind of lighting up the interior of the front cockpit. And it does do a nice shine down onto that, a nice red down onto the instrument panel and down onto this black shroud that goes around there. So for that point, the lighting I'm pretty good with. As I said, also we got the lighting done here on these sides where the searchlights go. So from those sides there, those are done on both sides. And now we're just doing some final detail painting. And after the detail painting is done, I've got this massive set of decals here somewhere. Yeah, that's it. That's the size of the decal right there. I think there's maybe 6 or 8 on there. If I look up in the light, yeah, 6 of them. So we'll put that decal set on probably tomorrow. I do have to put the windows in. I had 2 choices for the windows. One choice was this one here, which is the long rakish type window, and then this one here is the set of windows that go in, just fit in just real carefully into that piece there. This is still wet, but so I don't want to do that at the moment. So on the windows, I just wanted to read real quick what the difference is there. And I saw this somewhere here. Yeah. So note that the windows, these optional window parts are reproductions of the windshield from the original vintage model kit from 1969. Note that this window style accurately reflects the window used on the actual shooting miniature from the film. So I went ahead and decided to use those parts 66 and 65 going into the window frame, and they actually fit really nice. Again, back kudos to Moebius. The kit it goes together really well. Just my serious deficiencies as a modeler again caused me a bit of trip up, but we're getting there. We're making progress. So a couple of things that we've got completed here. We now have these gray wet cement, and I really like that color, and I think I'm going to use that for a future Star Trek model that I'm doing. Both of those are in and done. The black casing here has been, or the tape has been removed, and it gives me kind of a real deep dark black look inside of those thrusters. So very thrilled with that. And now these have been painted the white color of the rest of the hull, and just did yellow over the landing gear for an emergency look, you know, to stay clear and danger and so forth. All of the rockets are in, and I haven't yet drilled into those. I am going to do that because I think it would add a nice little touch and give me just a little bit more character and lighting from what's there. On the back, we have painted. I chose not to go into the dental molding. That dental molding is just so tiny that taping it off and painting it, I just don't think I could do it justice of any way, shape, or form. I did paint the ramp underneath, and I did paint, you know, these two accent points in, and these have been painted in with silver, you know, to reflect silver tail lights, if you will. So those have been painted in and done and completed. And again, yellow on this side here. I think that looks pretty nice with the emergency landing gear, or landing gear to be careful with. The bottom has been detailed and painted. So I just used this gray here that I used for the back window, and this wet cement here for the side, just to keep bringing it in. And then just kind of hand detailed painted some of the gribblies that are there, some blues, some yellows, blacks, and chromes. And then painted the chrome strip around. I'm not sure if you can see it. There's a chrome strip around the outside of each of the rockets, and so that has now been done. And the landing gear has been glued in as well. So we are pretty well completed. The big challenge I have with this, and I know I should know better because I've done it a couple of times and still screwed it up, and this was no exception at that stage. Taping off a model for paint, I don't know how these guys like Boyd and Lou D'Amaso and all those guys do it, but when I tape off a section here for paint, I always am left with a really ugly paint line, and it's fairly minimal here. You can't necessarily see it instantly. You can see it. You know, here's an example of a hard paint line. And, you know, it's just where I get into trouble trying to figure out where, what to paint first, what to paint second, what not to paint, what to leave on. These are all challenges. So I had a terrible paint line across the top of this. a terrible paint line that I sanded out and then came back with my really tiny airbrush and brushed that back in. I had some spots that I had to sand off and deal with that, and then a lot of hand painting. And you know, my hand painting, my hands shake enough that when I've got a brush with wet paint on it, with sometimes like black on white, if I'm painting down here, I'm lucky I don't paint myself like Bozo the Clown, quite honestly. So regardless, the painting is pretty well done. I'm going to try to do like a couple of these spots, like maybe here to here with just a flat aluminum, and maybe a couple of these with a flat aluminum, and this piece here with a flat aluminum, maybe that centerpiece, and tape it off. And anywhere I can tape off like a panel line, I might do that. And then I have decided I'm going to use Tamiya's Weathering Master, the gunmetal and the silver. I'm not going to use black or any of the rust, but I'm going to use this for the first time. I've not tried it before, but we're going to do that across the bottom where the rockets would be blowing up dust on the moon and causing, you know, significant dirt and grime, and I'm just going to try some of that. I don't know if I'm going to do a panel wash. It would really come out nice on this here, I think, because these panels are pretty well lined out. But I think a panel wash would really bring that, make those pop, and make them come out and come to light as far as the details go. So the painting, again, it's something that I'm getting better with the airbrush. I'm getting better with some detail painting, but some detail painting just leaves me just shaking in my boots, quite honestly, trying to do some of this with a couple of coats and not use a liquid mask and things like that. So I've got some skill set to learn yet on how to mask effectively and efficiently, and keep those paint lines away from my model, especially on long flat surfaces where you don't have another spot to paint to. So for that is pretty well the Moebius Moonbus painting done. Hull is done, doors are done, and the next step is to get the wiring put into its post, put the post up into the bottom of the Moonbus, and then wrap my little base there in a photo of the moon, which I think I got a very cool photo for that, so we'll put that together. And once all of that is done, then we're ready to wrap this up and move on to the next project, which did come via Amazon yesterday. So just about in time, just about the right time for it to come along. You know, though I think I'm all right with this. Though it was definitely a challenge for me. Definitely something that again, learning my my weaknesses and deficiencies, and learning the skill set are definitely going to be some things that I do differently on the next model. And it's very similar to this, so I think it'll be interesting. A lot of glass in the next one, and so we will go from there. And for now, this is the Sloppy Modeler signing off. Thank you.